And and there were really good takeaways too. But I like that was fun for me. And what was really cool, I thought, like Ryan and I, when we're there in the booth and stuff, is like people like Mike that come up and you're like a kid in the candy store. Your energy is like contagious. He's like, oh, dude, he goes, check out all this stuff. Let's rock and roll, right? That's fun in itself.
Well, and you know what's funny is the exact opposite. I had the exact same thing happen when I met Mike. The exact same thing happened when I met Mike. Ryan and I have never physically shaken hands, but so I love bumping into people that I've known forever, and I get that vibe from. But there's also some people who I've known forever, and I bump into them in person, and I don't get that vibe. It's like, I really don't like this guy. There's a reason I don't like this guy. Because who he is isn't who I thought he was, but when you meet them in person, you realize, oh, I see what's happening now. And I've met a handful of people like that. I've met a handful of people like that to go, oh, I get this now. Now I know what's going on.
Perspective. There are people that are completely authentic. Like I remember Digital Dealer last year when Terry reached out to me and said, hey, you're here. Let's hook up. I got to catch a flight, so I'm by the door. I sprinted like across the whole floor of the place to get to him, just give him a big old giant hug. And then, he had to take off. But that was like the best 5 seconds of that whole show. And then there's been people that I've run into, and you're like, wow, you're not the person that I thought you were when we connected online. Right. And I've actually cut out some people on my connections list after meeting them in person. And there's people that I want to know more of and spend more time with. So it's been good and bad.
I absolutely agree with you guys. There's something to be said about authenticity, and you can tell immediately when it's an online social media facade.
Right. Yeah, you like I said, it's just a blink instinct thing, and you don't get that through Facebook. You have to shake hands and look them in the eye, and then you realize, oh yeah.
Hey, Ryan, are we live on Facebook, or are we live on the super secret Zoom backend service?
No.
YouTube.
And yes.
No and yes. Are we live on YouTube?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
What's up, YouTube? Go ahead.
What's up? No, I was just going to ask if it's on Facebook, man. I was going to share it. I was going to do my duty here.
No, you know me. I'm like, can't do Facebook. That's why I had said, if you wanted to host a stream and kind of, multi-simulcast it to, to the universe.
Yeah. The struggle is I can only go max 2 people. And so it's like, okay, well, you guys want to rock, paper, scissors for who's it? And if it's me, I'm like, well, just here, turn mine off. And you think, so,
well, the way we did it at IDS, where we were remoted in to your stream, like I could send the Zoom, I could have Zoom up like we do and remote into your broadcast. That could work. We would just, we could have Zoom as one channel.
I am absolutely down to try it. It's one of those, though, I don't know if we wanted to try it on a live show. Hey, because we saw how that happened. There were plenty of live shows that were like, wait, this did not go exactly as planned.
See, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm the talent. I just show up and look pretty. I don't know nothing about that stuff.
And you do it well.
That's all you got to do, Terry. That's all you got to do. Keep looking pretty. Nashville pretty.
Are you feeling cute? That's the big one right now.
Oh, yeah.
Are you feeling cute? Yeah.
I'm a hockey player, kid.
Terry, I just rely on Mike and Ryan to make it all happen.
Yeah.
So
can I start the show then?
What do you guys think?
It's your rodeo, brother.
It's your world, man. Rock and roll.
All right, let's do a quick intro here, folks. You're here. You are tuned in live to AutoConverse on air, AC on air. Today is Wednesday, April 17th. Happy Hump Day. I'm Ryan Gerardi. Also, happy International Bat Appreciation Day. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but you hear us talking. I've got Mike Phillips here with us, Mike the car guy, Corerra, and Terry Lancaster. What is going on, gentlemen?
Hey, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, guys.
So we're just goofing around. This is kind of a special, I say, anniversary edition. And the reason why is because about a year ago, maybe 13 months ago, was about the time that we had launched this show, this live weekly webcast. And Mike Phillips and Mike Corerra were on. No, you were not both at IDS. Phillips, you were at IDS, but Corerra, you were not, right?
Terry was with me at IDS, so he was like here in spirit.
Yeah, Terry was
right.
here. And Terry, you and I hadn't really started doing anything together.
That was actually we had a conversation that week because you and Mike apparently were talking about me when I didn't know it, and you and I talked later that week, or maybe on my flight home or something. So that was actually the anniversary of us actually having a conversation.
So that's why this is our special anniversary edition. So happy anniversary, guys!
Happy anniversary to you, man! 1 year, right?
It's like 6 degrees of auto converse. We're all connected in some manner.
Man, that's true.
I like that. Well, it's great to be here. We'll probably go a little bit longer than 30 minutes would be my guess. I mean, you saw the lineup of stuff we had to talk about. We got Uber's IPO, Verizon going 5G, which I didn't expect, but that news came out in the past week. Disney Plus. Do you find it ironic that the same month that Google Plus sunsets, Disney Plus comes out?
Yeah, but they're different services.
Yeah, it's a different thing. I mean, Disney's jumping on. They're trying to grab that streaming money. Everybody wants a piece of that pie.
Yeah.
What I wonder is why they need a streaming service. They already have a channel, so now they have to, which streaming typically isn't as good as cable anyway. So
because so many people are cutting the cord.
Yeah, and have you seen the lineup of stuff that they're going to have? I think it'll be worthwhile. And does it? I know I'm not going to get ahead of you. Carry on.
No, go on. I want to hear what you guys say.
I was just going to say what's interesting is because I read one of the things said, well, Disney owns Hulu. So one of the kind of hopes and dreams of some people have said, well, hopefully they come up with a Hulu Disney Plus bundle package because like Terry said, people are cutting the cord. So like if I had Hulu and Disney Plus, if that's the case, I wouldn't need anything else. I would need nothing else.
Yeah.
There's not only cord cutters, but here's nevers. There are younger people that have never installed cable to their house. They've just done everything on their computer, and that's going to be a growing trend.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But so I had the conversation last week with a couple of guys that said Disney's coming out. No, I've got to get on Disney because they've got all the Disney stuff and everything. But by the time I get Disney and by the time I get Hulu and by the time I get Netflix so I can watch House of Cards and by the time I get Amazon so I can watch The Man in the High Castle, I might as well go back to DirecTV. I'm still paying $100 a month for streaming.
I cut out Netflix just recently. We cut out Netflix and we don't have any cable. I'm a cord cutter. So it's like we literally everything we run either we watch on YouTube, like fantastic shows such as this.
Yeah.
And we so YouTube and Hulu and that's it.
Yeah.
So what do you watch on Hulu, Mike?
Usually we catch up with like regular TV shows and stuff. There's a few originals on there, but on Hulu, I'm not much of a TV watcher. My wife has a few of her shows that we got to watch. So I'm up on Grey's Anatomy. You guys watch Grey's Anatomy? Big fan.
That's still on.
A good show. Yeah, it's still
on. It's been on forever. It's like Days of Our Lives. It's never going away.
Yeah, and there's always gonna if anything starts to wind down.
The other day too.
If anything starts to wind down, then they're gonna have a plane crash so they can spice things back up and but that and a few other miscellaneous shows, mostly TV shows that we just catch up on, and then there's a couple originals on there, but I can't think of the names right now.
Okay, so Disney Plus is going to be $7 a month, and you said, have you seen what they have? Is it more than just Disney content?
Yeah, they said, okay, well, it's obviously Disney content plus some of the stuff that's in the vault. So they're going to re-release Snow White and the Little Mermaid, which clearly I'm a fan of. I have a 7-year-old daughter. So
that's not why you're a fan though. You don't need to pawn that on her.
That's just bonus.
That's true. It's a good cover.
Some good stuff on there, and that's how they're going to get you is making sure that no one has a DVD player anymore. So a lot of people may have those movies on DVD, but they don't have the player to play them. So their only avenue is to sign up to Disney streaming and get that.
And DVD. I've got all the old Disney stuff on VHS in my basement. If you want a copy,
so do I. Yeah. Well, Disney owns Lucasfilm, so all the Star Wars content.
Star Wars stuff. That's what all my buddies were talking about.
That was my point. Is it's all Disney content. They're not going to have non-Disney content.
They own Marvel. They don't
need anything non-Disney. What else is there?
They need?
National
Geographic.
This all goes back to why you need original content. So if you want Netflix original programming, you have to have Netflix.
That's right.
If you want Amazon programming, you have to get Amazon. And that's where the battle This is where the battle will take place. The streaming platform itself is just a technology. The content, where can you get the content? That's where the battle's going to take form.
Content is always king. Distribution is you can buy distribution.
That's true.
So why don't we come up with a streaming as a service app that allows you to kind of get all the original streaming content, like iTunes and Spotify, right? You get all the content you want. It's just the platform. We're at a stage where now it's like, I want all this content and I want to be able to pay for it and pick it. So you need it in one place. So,
but they all want it behind their individual walls, their individual paywalls.
But they will license it out. I'm positive they will. Here's an example: Apple News. If you look on your iPhone and you go to the News app, all the main publishers put certain content in the Apple News app. Now they're all different models. So like Wall Street Journal might say, as long as you have a subscription with us, you can access Wall Street Journal on Apple News. Whereas New York Times might say, we're going to put, select articles up there at no charge.
Right.
If you want everything else, you got to have a subscription with us. So they're just going to slice and dice it in different ways.
Yeah. Or the New York Times thing is where I get it. I always get the thing. You have 8 more articles left this month where you can read free New York Times articles before you have to start subscribing.
And I'm fine with that. If you just pay a little bit to get a little bit, and if you want more, you pay a little more. I mean, it used to be you pay a quarter and you got it all.
Right.
When you wanted it.
Well, it used to be they charge $100,000 for a full page ad, and I didn't have to pay anything. I just had to look at a couple of ads. I was a big fan of that model.
So Phillips, what's the little blue guy you have there?
That's actually Mike, the car guy, who I think is down there on your screen. At least he's down there on my screen. That's Dealer Built Man. He travels with many of us Mikes. Yeah, he's down there for you. He's down there for me. T's down there for me. Yeah. So
make sure I get one to all of you guys.
Yeah, he gave me this. He gave me this gift at IDS, and so we've been hanging out at my desk together. Yeah, the good news, he doesn't say a lot. He doesn't eat a lot, so he's a good companion there.
That's what Mike calls the perfect co-host.
Yeah, great listener.
I'm like, hey, so what do you think? Yeah, me too.
He always agrees.
So Phillips, have you like kind of taken a break from doing stuff lately? I feel like I haven't seen stuff coming out of your jukebox lately.
You were sick.
I have been sick for almost 3 weeks. So right after IDS, this is the first week that I've really been able to speak and so forth. And so I've been doing some writing in the background. Okay. I've been doing some video editing in the background. I'm going to release, I've got a new video coming out today, and then going back forward, I'm back onto my regular schedule. So as far as my lead the team, my leadership content and so forth, I'll be back on my regular schedule or regular-ish schedule starting today, blog posting and other stuff. But the only reason I took a step back was really just my health to take a minute because I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
I love how that sounds. I got a new video that's going to drop today.
Well, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Awesome.
I think that's a technical term for it. Dropping it.
Dropping it today. It's like, hey, for anybody watching right now, if you're watching AutoConverse on air and you haven't shared it, make sure you smash the like button and share it out. Like that's the big thing for YouTubers and stuff. You got to smash. Like they're aggressive. Hit the like button, smash the like button, kill that subscribe button, hit the bell so that you get notified when Ryan goes live and you don't miss anything.
When you watch TV, you don't get barraged with all these calls to action. You just get spoon-fed the content.
Yeah.
Unless you're watching NPT, baby. Unless you're watching NPT.
So I don't even know what NPT is. Should I ask?
National Public Television.
Oh, okay. And then what? You get prompted for.
Then they have they have the rodeos every year. The fundraisers. They do the big fundraising telethons and why you should donate and why you should subscribe and why you get the free Wayne Dyer videos and the Wayne Dyer T-shirts and all the stuff they'll give you free for being a supporter of National Public Television.
How many free Wayne Dyer T-shirts do you own, Terry?
I own all the Wayne Dyer T-shirts. I've got everything on
the whole collection.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of air quotes in this program in this show today.
We should all do a synchronized air quote.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So you can edit these when you need them.
Yeah.
So maybe I should talk about National Bat Appreciation Day. No, I'm sorry, International Bat Appreciation Day.
Are we talking like bats? The what is it? A marsupial? Is it a marsupial? Is it a
flying mammal? No,
It's a mammal.
No,
it's a mammal.
I thought they were
marsupials
marsupials. So
yeah, because they carry little baby bats in their pouch, don't they?
I thought so too, but
that a thing?
yeah,
it says that bats are the only true, fully flying mammals.
Huh.
yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I think a marsupial is
slide.
I think marsupial is a mammal. I think that's a subclassification. We'll have to look that up.
That's a good point. It could be. So apparently there are over 1,200 known species of bats.
Yeah.
1,200. Let's see what else.
Do you have a favorite bat?
I couldn't even.
Slugger.
Probably the giant golden-crowned flying fox.
Yeah, the flying fox or the giant fruit bat. Those are awesome. They're like 3 feet long.
What kind of bats do they have in Tennessee? Do you know?
I don't know what they're called. They're actually endangered. It's a big thing. It's a big thing around here. All the bats are getting what they call white nose fungus, and a lot of them are dying off. But I love the bats here. I have a big backyard and a pool, and when my kids were little, we would sit on the deck. When the evening time would come, when it was just about dusk, we would sit on the deck to watch the bat races. About the time the bats would all come out, they'd start flying around our backyard and dive bombing the pool to get any mosquitoes and bugs that were hanging right around the pool. So we'd just sit in the backyard, and they'd dive down the pool, they'd fly off about 200 yards and then circle back. And this would go on for about an hour. So the whole time my kids were little, we used to sit outside and watch the bat races.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
They are pretty fascinating to watch. Did you know that bats are clean? They are constantly grooming themselves.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think of a bat as like a flying rat, just kind of like
Right.
But apparently they're clean. Okay, last stat. There's 4 states who have an official bat. Do you know what the states are?
No,
Texas.
I've never even seen a bat outside of like a
There's
zoo,
3
Ryan. I don't think I've seen a bat outside of a zoo. And
that's why we come here. We come here to learn.
Terry's talking about like, hey, instead of fireflies, we watch bats diving into the pool, right?
We do.
So Noah, what are the 4 states, Ryan? I have to assume that you're going to tell us.
I will if you want. I was going to see if you want. So it's actually 3. My bad.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Anybody want to take a guess?
Texas is one, I'm sure. I would imagine.
There you go. Texas is one.
You gotta have Texas.
There you go.
Alabama. That's just a shot in the dark now.
Nice shot, Mike. One guess. Corerra. No.
We have bats.
I would have thought
but
so.
Maybe not an official bat.
So Texas, Oklahoma, and Virginia.
So there's a hockey connection there. The minor league hockey team in Austin, Texas. I don't know if it still is, but for years and years and years, the Austin Ice Bats.
Ice bats. Is that an actual genre?
No, that's just that was just their name for the hockey team because there's some kind of big bat deal in Austin where there's a huge bat colony that at night all the bats come out, so they just named their hockey team the Austin Ice Bats. But I know the bats are a big deal in Austin.
Yeah, it's a pretty good name. I bet they have a sweet logo.
I like vampire bats.
What are you doing later? All right, so hey, nice seeing you guys. Hope you have a great day.
Too.
So,
what's the next topic, man? We're all prepped and ready to go for this.
Yeah.
Thought we were going to talk Uber today.
Yeah, what do you think about Uber? They're one of the top 10 largest IPOs of all time.
So, what do you think the number is? That's the question. The number keeps going down.
I don't know why it's not official yet. That's what I can't figure out.
I think because it keeps going down, they don't want to make it official.
But I thought they actually, they filed, but they haven't actually, they haven't actually done the initial public offering.
Right. So they're working on it. I'd heard 120 billion for a year. I heard people lofting this 120 billion figure, and then it was like around 100 billion. And I was reading stuff this week that they're anticipating like 50 billion initial valuation. So it's it's been cut in half. I think they're lofting trial balloons to see to figure out the number they can get to.
Yeah, the last one I heard was 90 to 100 billion. So if you're in 50 billion now, that's going down. The interesting thing, and not to tie the two together, but I was looking at some of the data between Uber and Lyft. One of the interesting things that I found interesting is the way that Uber is set up, and they're branching out into, okay, what else can we do with this product? How else can we grow the product? So you got Uber, right, which was the initial deal, and they're like the behemoth. But then they're like, well, hey, let's branch off. Let's do Uber Eats. Let's do Uber Freight, and do the shipping and so on and so forth. So they've got these other little wings that they're adding on for, one, for their company to grow, two, to give other Uber drivers another opportunity, a different vertical to drive and make money in. Whereas Lyft is like, look, here's all we're about. We're only about transportation. That's what we do.
I think one thing that's unique that Lyft is doing, and it's growing, is their subscription service. In bigger cities where there really isn't necessarily the old need to own your own car. I think that subscription service has really gained a lot of traction in the last 3-4 months, because I keep hearing a lot about it. And it's really, when you look at it, the cost of owning a car, paying for parking, maintenance, insurance, fuel, all that kind of stuff, if you can offset that with a $300 a month Lyft service fee and get nearly all the rides you need, and if you go over that cap, it's like a pretty good discount on the remainder of the rides you need, that just makes sense. When I first saw that, I thought that's really going to be something that takes off in big cities, maybe not in rural areas, but in bigger cities, I can see that just really being a unique offering.
Well, that came up in conversation a few weeks ago on this program, which is that the Lyft CEO wants to pretty much eliminate car ownership. Like he's not shy about that.
Yeah, that's his mantra.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, well, one of the things he said, I think it was one of the articles you had sent out, Ryan, and his comment was something along the lines of, hey, look, we want to redesign cities around people instead of cars. He, like, point blank, right out and says it.
Yeah, which I like. I think it's a shame what has happened to cities where they're just clustered with cars. It just seems like it shouldn't be that way. But I think reality is, in order for ride sharing to be a true alternative for owning a car, yes, it depends on where you live geographically. That's a big factor. But I think autonomy has a lot to do with it as well. So long as there's a person and an operator in that car, that price is it's only going to be able to go so low.
Right.
Well,
and I think there's an appeal to different demographics too. The idea of riding in a car with somebody else, to me, and I'm just going to be honest with you, is not appealing. I'll do it when needed, but for instance, here in California, commuting just sucks. It's just the worst that there is. We all know that the highways are horrible, but the carpool lane is available to kind of bypass a lot of the traffic nightmares. And there have been times when I was working at a dealership quite a distance away, and I would not carpool simply because that's my time, that's my space, my car. I like to, sing at the top of my lungs, and I'm not a good singer. I don't want to share that space with anybody. So for me personally, I'm never going to give up my own car, and I'm always going to drive it as much as I want to by myself. So hearing, but maybe I'm older, maybe younger people that are coming into the market have a different idea. They don't necessarily need the idea of owning their own car. They're okay with sharing space because they're going to be on their phone the whole time anyways. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there's two things when you're talking about demographics. I could not imagine, because I have 3 kids, I couldn't imagine saying, hey, we've got the subscription service, and I'm just going to hop in there with my kids. Like, I want to be in control and operation of that vehicle when my kids are one difference between like you and me, Mike, like I don't have a problem jumping in. I've taken an Uber. I'm cool with that. I'm depending on where I'm headed and so forth. But for me, on the family side of it, like, I'm not going to pile my wife and kids to go on a weekend outing. Second thing is SUVs and trucks. If you need utility, you're not gonna Uber to the dump for the weekend. You know what I mean? You're not going to Uber to go, hey, listen, we got to head over to American Furniture Warehouse and pick up our new couch. So we're just going to Uber F-150 it over there and or Lyft F-150 it over there. Do you mind? That's a different program.
Well, actually, I bought a car last year, and I actually sat down to do the math because I don't drive a lot. I live out in the suburbs, and I don't drive a lot if I'm in town. I work from home. I don't have a commute. And so I was thinking, well, does it make sense for me just to go all Uber all the time? And since I'm out I'm out in the suburbs. Any ride to downtown is an expensive ride. It's a $50 Uber ride from my house to downtown Nashville. So that makes it outrageous. But the deciding factor that made me decide, okay, I have to have a car is because twice a week I've got to pile my stinky hockey equipment in the back of a car and take it to the ice rink. And I don't want to be piling my stinky hockey equipment in the back of somebody else's car because they're all going to be giving me side eye because that stuff stinks. And they're mad now. They're going to charge me cleaning fees or whatever. And the utility is what made me decide. I still have to have a car. Have to.
There's two options there. Just get two Ubers.
Yeah.
Hockey gear in one, you ride in the other one.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I got a whole new way to travel.
Yeah.
I understand hockey gear, man. So, yeah, those are just the two instances. I mean, when I'm at a conference or we're out of town, and or my wife and I, if there are times that we're like, hey, we're gonna go downtown, we're gonna go out on a date or whatnot, and I may have a drink or two. And because I'm in the car business, if I have half of one, I don't drive, nor do I want her to. So we may Uber somewhere to do that kind of deal, which that's advantageous. I'm not worried about it. But like I said, I couldn't imagine like, hey, listen, my 7-year-old daughter's got to get to school. That kind of stuff. That I couldn't operate that way.
Well, I think it's real. It's not going to replace car ownership.
Sure.
Uber and Lyft have very different business models. Uber is all about concierging everything to you. I think I just made up a word. Whereas Lyft is just about getting you from one place to another.
Yeah.
So very distinctive differences. You were talking, Mike, about the idea of I have to take stuff to the dump. Well, Uber could help you there too. Instead of Ubering a car, I mean, you don't have to be there, right? You could just hail.
Sure.
Or maybe the dump should partner with Uber
right.
to offer that service.
Uber waste management.
Yeah. Yeah. In that sense, I think Uber, regardless of their
Put it
IPO,
on the curb, an Uber driver will pick it up and shuttle it off to the dump.
Uber's going to be like Amazon is for shopping. It's going to be like they're just going to become one and the same.
Until the moment Amazon decides that they want on the business too. Amazon's one of the largest fleet managers in the United States. As soon as they get their autonomous hooked up, then they'll have all the trucks and they'll be wanting to do something with it too. I don't want to knock Amazon out of any market. If they want in, get ready.
And they got a head start.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's fascinating that regardless of Uber's IPO, unless it's a flop, but it won't be, Uber will be valued higher than General Motors, and I think Ford and Chrysler combined, but I know at least General Motors.
Well, at 120 billion, which was the figure that kept getting floated last year, it's higher than all three domestic manufacturers combined.
But it won't go at 120 billion. Yeah. I don't think
not now. After Lyft has fallen so far after theirs, I think we're looking at somewhere between 50 and 100. Yeah.
I think the projections I see estimated it's probably going to end up being more like 10 billion. So we'll see.
10?
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that also.
That's the realistic expectation.
I heard 50's been common, but I agree with you, Ryan, that there's more than one site, there's more than one set of analysts that have said that they're going to fall in at 10. I've heard that also.
So 5G's on its way in, at least here in Chicago, which I'm partially excited about.
Have you tried that network yet, Ryan? I was going to ask you.
Here's what I'm
got to have the 5G phone.
That's what I was going to say. I think you have to have the phone. And I had just said on a program recently. So I have the iPhone 7 Plus, which I bought, I guess it'd be 2 years ago, maybe 3. I think 2 years ago. And I bought it because at the time I just started doing a lot of live streaming at the trade shows. And the iPhone was the best way for me to do a live stream to Facebook versus you see me now, I've got the camera and the laptop and it's all this equipment. Could do it all through the iPhone. So I just finished paying it off a couple of months ago. And I had told some friends, I said, I want to see how long before I have to buy a new phone. I'm going to try to not buy a new phone. And I speculated that when 5G comes out, I'll have to get a new phone if I want to get 5G.
Right.
It's because Apple will start delivering their malware to slow your phone down, dude.
I've heard of that. I haven't seen that.
Beware of those updates.
Oh yeah, that's a deal.
Yeah, that's why all of a sudden when new technology is coming out, when new phones come out, when new technologies come out, they're like, hey, listen, we've updated. There's the air quotes again. We've updated your phone to work with the new to work with the new system. And then people are always like, oh my gosh, man, my phone.
Your battery is going to deplete in 7 minutes now.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like it's time to upgrade. So I'd
want to get a new phone.
Yeah.
They should put a disclaimer with the update. You can either update to the new iOS system, or just go get a new phone. This makes it easy on yourself. Just run down and pick up a new phone.
Give you 2 buttons: update, upgrade.
Dude, my question is, what happens when every car is like a phone, and you get the Tesla auto update on your car, and now all of a sudden you can't go over 55 miles an hour unless you go buy a new $70,000 Tesla.
Don't give them any ideas, Terry.
People will stop buying Tesla.
Stop buying Teslas.
Yeah. I don't think that'll work in the long run, because at some point you're going to need additional hardware. It's just like computers. You can get all the operating system upgrades you want, but some of it might require different hardware. So,
to go to a 5G network, it will.
Yeah.
I'm talking. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even with Tesla, when Elon Musk is out there saying, we'll always be able to upgrade your autonomy over time, but no, they're going to have to install new pieces of hardware. The hardware does have a rather finite lifespan for sure.
Yeah. If you're going to drive that sucker to Mars, you're definitely going to have to put some new hardware on it. So.
Well, he's got to bore a tunnel there first.
That's right.
So I have a question for you guys. You all have kids, right? Corerra,
yes.
How many children do you have?
Who? Which one?
Corerra. Only Mike Corerra.
I've got 4, but only one at home. He's my 16-year-old, my little guy. Okay,
so your youngest is 16. Phillips, what's your youngest?
I have my oldest is 18, middle's 12, youngest is 7.
7. Does he have?
She. My 7 is she.
Does she have a smartphone?
Yes and no. She has a smartphone. It was my wife's old iPhone 6, I think it was. So it's not hooked up. She plays with it like a tablet.
Okay. Yeah. So she uses it on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And then what's the next oldest sibling from that?
12.
Okay.
He got a phone this year when he turned 12, and he got a phone by accident when my wife upgraded. We were like, well, we could trade this phone in, so we ended up getting him a phone just in the last year. And my 18-year-old is, yeah.
So now, does the 12-year-old, has he been pressuring you for a phone, like from peer pressure with friends?
From like the 3rd grade. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And you've been fighting that?
No, I just told him no. Yeah, there's no fight. I'm the one that pays for it. Yeah, no, you get one when you turn 12. That's how it works.
And Terry, I know your kids are all grown out of
20 to 24. Right? Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
They all have cell phones.
Here's why I asked. Yeah, they have phones. Here's why I ask. I have a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old, and 14-year-old has had a smartphone probably since about 10 or 11, maybe a little bit earlier. I think we hooked up service about 2 years ago. The 9-year-old, we gave him service just last year. So before that, he like your daughter, Mike, he had an old iPhone on the Wi-Fi, but we gave him service just last year, mainly because when he gets to and from school on and off the bus, in case he's not with an adult, at least he has a phone on him. But I heard in an interview, in the UK, it is not customary for children to get a smartphone until they go into high school. And the caller, he was basically saying he was struggling on whether or not he wanted to go with the status quo and give his son his first smartphone at age 15?
Yeah, 14, 15.
Because that was the expectation. He's like, I feel like I'm giving him a pack of cigarettes. And I just thought, what contrast to the US, because I think here we're giving kids phones pretty early.
Yeah. And I think from like both of you mentioned, you give the kid a smartphone, but you reluctantly give the kid a smartphone, and it actually becomes a parenting tool, because then you have access to them. And when I think our kids are, maybe we're overbooked than the UK kids, but our kids are running around, and we got soccer practice and ballet practice and after school activities. And all that, when I gave my kids smartphones, they weren't even smartphones, but we wanted to be able to text them. So, hey, call me, text me when ballet practice is over so we can come get you and run around. It becomes almost once you get used to that connection, it becomes unavoidable.
Communication necessity.
Absolutely.
Our deal was 12 years old. We said, look at 12 years old, 12 years old for the oldest. And then we ended up, due to some circumstances, ended up a little bit earlier than that, 12 years old for the middle one. And then, like I said, maybe a couple months before, because my wife was upgrading her phone. My daughter's in first grade, and half of the kids have smartphones.
Yeah. With
so
service.
Of course, with service. And she's asking, and I'm like, no, 12 years old. Like that's it. You said, did we have a struggle with my middle one? Like, was he pressuring us for it? Yeah, he was asking from the time he was 9 or 10. And the answer is just, no, that's not, like, you don't need it. But we're unique. Probably a little bit, my wife stays at home. My wife drives the kids to and from school, or I do. My wife drives the kids to and from sports practice and stuff. So it's a little, we're fortunate that we can say, yeah, no, you don't get a phone yet.
I got to say, I like my kids having a phone because I like having access to them.
Yeah.
I do like that. And I think like any aspect of parenting, yeah, you're giving them access to things that are not good for them. You just got to instill discipline and morals. And I mean, reality is we all got to see the dark side at some point in our lives. I think, there's no way around that. That's just part of life and getting through that. You don't want to start them on it too early. So it's chancy, but I like having access to the kids. I like seeing their location, text me when you get home kind of thing.
It was great when my son was 12 and he didn't know how to download apps on his phone yet. So we gave him just a basic phone with, texting and phone, and it didn't have, a browser. It didn't have YouTube. It didn't have all the things on it. Right. And then, inevitably his friends were like, oh, hey, man, you got to download YouTube so you can watch videos. And then it's all done from there.
And it was all on.
Like, YouTube, what's that about? Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Well, I think there's some cool features. Something came up last week. So last week, and by the way, shouts out to Michael Garrison and Dan Vega from Blue Television, Blue Success TV. They were on last week. And in that conversation, it was kind of on the heels of the UK's announcement that they want to start putting in regulation on big tech and social media. And we were...
Article 13.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Article 13.
Okay. Yeah. So we were getting to that conversation about, I think the consensus with the three of us was, why is it taking government so long to begin regulating big tech and social media? Let me ask you guys this. I'll start with you, Terry.
Yeah.
What if you couldn't publish publicly? Okay, so you could publish anything you wanted, but the only people that would see it were people that you were connected with, that choose to connect with you on social media. And in order to publish publicly, you had to basically be, certified, kind of like driving, right? You have to register to vote. You have to get licensed to drive. And so imagine if you had to register to publish content publicly. Don't you think that could immediately put a cap or a proxy to a lot of this just harmful content that gets published right away? Like, the shooter in New Zealand that was live streaming a massacre.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, because I'm connected with, tens of thousands of people. So, my content, I'm perfectly content broadcasting to the, 20,000 people I'm connected, 25,000 people I'm connected with socially. That's all the universe I need. So being publicly viable is not really a thing to me. I don't know. I don't know what that gets everyone other than to be able to there's a certain rush, I guess, for that type of psychology to go, I'm putting this out there for the masses, because even though it's being publicly streamed, how many people are seeing it? If 7 people are watching, well, I don't know what difference that makes it, whether it's public or with you're connected. My whole deal is to be connected with as many people as possible who are the people I want to be connected with. And, as far as being broadcasting to millions, that's not my vibe.
Right. The people you want to be connected with, that you want to hear your message, whatever that message is.
All right.
Well, the nature of my question, I guess, was more on the lines of regulating social media. And it seems like if content wasn't just public because by default, that's de facto, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, Facebook technically, no, even Facebook, you could set it for everything to be public. There's no accountability. I don't know. It seems like one way to just instantly put a regulation on.
Yeah, but then the ultimate question is who's doing the regulating? Who is the person that gets the big rubber stamp that goes, your opinion is okay and your opinion is not okay?
Well,
opinion can't regulate morality. A long time ago, I had a friend of mine that came to me and said, car sales people should have some type of standard, some type of, uniform testing that they have to go through before they can become a professional car salesman, like realtors, because you get that little R and it means something. And I said,
we do in Colorado.
There are bad realtors, just like there are good realtors, because you've gone through a series of tests and demonstrated your ability to retain knowledge in certain areas. You're right. In Colorado, they're bonded. Doesn't guarantee that all people that pass that test and become professional salespeople are going to be good at it or ethical or have high morals. You're going to have good and bad at anything, just like you're going to have good and bad at anything. So if they start regulating social, it's not going to eliminate. It may cut down a lot of the fake profiles, a lot of the trolling and that kind of stuff, but it's not going to guarantee that the quality of the content is any better.
The regulation. Sorry, Mike. I'm just clarifying something. The regulation will hold the media companies accountable. So, in other words, if Facebook, assuming the rules go into play and the regulations there, if something gets published on Facebook that breaks the regulation, Facebook is penalized, and that'll put the accountability on Facebook, the publisher, to have protocols and proxies in place to keep people from putting them in jeopardy. Go ahead.
So, but again, that goes back. Is Facebook a publisher or is Facebook a distributor? And that's
It doesn't matter. That's not how the article reads. So here, I'm very well versed on this. It's a big controversy on YouTube, and I'm connected with several people that are European YouTubers, and it is a huge deal because it's not. If it was set up the way Ryan's presenting it, then you're able to help regulate and create a higher quality of communication, a higher quality of connection, that kind of stuff for the right people. But it's a mess. It's expected to go into play in the next 2 years. It's called Article 13. And the way that it is set up, it's designed straight up for government regulation. Terry, you asked the question, you said, well, who regulates it? The government. And one of the thoughts, what many of some really large European YouTube, it's a big deal on YouTube. What they're saying too is they say, well, herein lies the problem. Like, it eliminates freedom of speech. It's regulated by the government. And one of the statements that's been thrown around out there is, look, you control the medium, you control the people. And so it is in my opinion, and I've read it, I've gotten very well versed on it, I am 1,000% against it. I think it is an absolutely terrible idea in its current form.
But we already have regulation on television and radio airwaves. We already have, it's the same regulation. You can't.
It's not the same regulation.
Same idea. It's the idea that, so it's not meant to impose on freedom of speech. It's meant to protect. It's just meant to protect from illegitimate information. Or
any regulation is ruled by the law of unintended consequences. It may not be meant to regulate opinion and free speech, but that will be the net result.
It is. It'll eliminate the ability for people to post memes, for people to use fair use content anywhere. It'll eliminate it is such a poorly written regulation. And one of the concerns is that as it's being developed in the UK and the European Union or whatnot, as they develop that, one of the concerns is that's going to bleed over to other countries. And they're like, it is absolutely, for anyone who wants to look it up, it's called Article 13. You can just Google it. And it is one of the most poorly written regulations you can ever, they're going to have so many unintended consequences. It is terrible. It's going to effectively shut down many social networks.
All right. So pop quiz here. What do you think will happen first, Brexit or Article 13?
Neither.
Yeah, neither of them. Hey, it's just like any other government-run idea. the motto is we scare because we care, right? And so that's a whole different conversation, right? That's Pandora's box.
I know, dude, funny. The article it'll get worked out. It might be how'd you describe it? It's a more poorly written article, but it'll work itself out. I guess as far as I'm concerned, I think regulation of social media and big tech is on the horizon. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
And I welcome it because I think it's needed. But to your point, it comes with ramifications and unintended consequences.
Yeah.
But then what do you do about the most powerful people in the world spreading their own ideas that aren't necessarily factual in nature? Who's regulating them?
Well, they're the government.
Right.
We're here to help.
Yeah.
Right. Wasn't it Ronald Reagan says, hey,
we're from the government and we're here to help.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. It's a good topic. We should stay on that and keep a pulse on it. I promised the audience I'd stay on the Boeing 737 MAX. And at this stage, it looks like these planes are going to be grounded indefinitely. And unfortunately,
I got a email from American Airlines yesterday saying they were going to continue their grounding of that plane until August.
Yeah.
Explaining, because I fly a lot. So I was explaining that if you've got trips booked out in advance, they want to make sure that you're aware that there could be some interruptions just as to why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when this first happened, I expected the grounding to be very, very very short period, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So anyway, I've promised people I'd keep up on that, and I've been bringing that up from show to show. But this is a good subject matter: regulation of social media. I think, and big tech. Because it's not just social media, it's messaging, which I guess is social media too. File sharing is in there. Mm-hmm. So things like, I guess, is that companies like what, Wasabi and Dropbox and Amazon Web, AWS.
Napster. That's our generation's file sharing.
Well, I think a big subject along the same lines is there's going to be conversations over the next year about who owns the data and who because of autonomy and the robots and people losing their jobs and the fall of the middle class and income inequality. There's going to be a lot of conversation over the next year about a guaranteed universal basic income tied to taxes on data and tech. And I think several of the people in the presidential race are going to try to ride that pony and get that conversation started.
Huh. Well, that's something for another day. Universal income tied to your data?
Tied, because you talked about television airwaves and the government regulating television airwaves. Well, their argument is that data is a public commodity, and tech companies are getting rich on this public information. Tech companies are getting rich by using autonomy and eliminating jobs, but not creating jobs. So if they're not creating jobs using this public resource, then we need to provide some money back to the public.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Huh. I like the concept. But I mean, look, right now, if you do it right on YouTube, you can make ad revenue, so you're effectively getting paid for your data. So in theory,
1/500th of a penny per click.
There you go.
Hey, I can say I'm making money on YouTube. Not a lot, not enough to sustain anything, but at this point in my current YouTube sphere, I'm making a little ad revenue and so forth.
Because you have something that people want to hear. You put out a great content. Not everybody is interesting on YouTube.
But even the people that aren't interesting, if they get enough hits on it, they're making money. And there's more than, one of the things that's unique there is there's more than one revenue stream. Just like anything else. You're looking at, hey, 1/500th of a penny for the view and so forth. But then there's all kinds of other avenues. There's the Patreons and the plugins for Teespring and the merchandise sales and the bookings and the so on and so forth. Yeah. It's wild, man.
I don't know if you guys can hear this, but for some reason, Mike's video stream, Phillips.
I thought he was going through a puberty right here in front of our eyes.
It's like it's slowed down and it's like talking in a deep, slow voice.
Look into the video stream.
Well, I said we definitely go over 30 minutes today, which we did. By and far, we're almost at an hour, so we probably should wind this puppy down just for the world's sake.
Great talking to you guys. I wish we could do this more
Yeah,
often.
you too.
Yeah.
Hey,
Do it every week if you want.
Hey, next week I say we go noon till 8. We could have an 8-hour webinar.
A marathon.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast. All right, you come up with the agenda for that.
Ready, everybody? Oh, it's Ryan.
Actually, I do have some ideas I would love to experiment with, possibly on this show. So who knows? Who knows where we'll take it? But
as long as we can talk about more hockey next week.
We can. I'm down for that, man.
Yeah, if the Preds are still in, we'll see how the Preds and the Avs do this week. We'll talk about it again.
All right, make your prediction. Who do you think's going to win the Stanley Cup, Terry?
If I had to go right now, Washington.
Mike Phillips, what do you think?
Avs.
You think the Avs are going to do it?
I think they can pull it off.
All right, I picked the Islanders. Corerra, you want to get in on this?
What's a Stanley Cup?
Oh, that was very well executed. We staged that, by the way.
There you go.
All right, Mike Phillips, Terry Lancaster, and Mike the Car Guy Corerra.
Thank you so much for letting me share this time with you guys.
Thank you, guys.
See you, boys.
I forgot to mention, folks, if you like this and you want it delivered to your smartphone, speaking of smartphones, text the keyword autoconverse to 64600. We'll send you a link to the live stream moments before we go live, and you can always watch it later if you can't watch it live. Check us out on the AutoConverse podcast as well. Just search for AutoConverse in your preferred podcast app. We will be there. And thanks, by the way, to our podcast listeners. We are about to break our annual milestone that we set. So hopefully this time next week, where I have Dave Weber coming on from Relay Cars, we will be able to share that broken milestone. So
nice.
Enjoy the rest of Hump Day. Yeah, enjoy the rest of Hump Day. Enjoy the rest of International Bat Appreciation Day. I'm Ryan Gerardi. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a great day, everyone.
Well, there we go.
Awesome.
Hold on. Let me get us offline here. Takes a minute to do that. Hold on.
You guys are so overzealous.
All right.